Hey everybody, my name is Ed. We're going to do another random comic book review. The first, cheers. Okay, so this one's going to be Swing with Scooter, number 7, DC Comics, 1967. Before we open up this one and look at it, I just want to show you something here. Here's issue 16 from 68, I think. 68, yeah. Okay. And the reason I wanted to bring that up, I just think it's very interesting how the comic changed within like a year or so. Here's the earlier issue. You tell the art style there. And then here's this with a uh, very Archie influenced, although this is drawn by a guy named Scarpelli. Scooter and his friends. And the thing about Scooter, just to give you another taste of the revamped Scooter, and the thing is, Scooter started out as DC kind of, doing a comic for young people, of course, and kind of cashing in on the whole kind of Beatles, Monkeys, rock and roll pop musician. Scooter was originally this musician, this teenage musician from like England, and he comes to live in the States and he makes friends with everybody, and they would get into kind of misadventures along the lines of Help and maybe A Hard Day's Night. But then, like I said, they revamped the comic to make it more of a direct imitation of like Archie and Jughead. Like I said, you've got Henry Scarpelli drawing in that whole Dan DeCarlo style, and even down to the title, that whole kind of solid color with the title of the comic on top of the red or whatever. That's the way they would do all the titles at Archie at that time. Marvel did the same thing by kind of twisting. Again, well, I mean, it was already kind of a teenage comic anyway, but with like Millie the Model and Chili and a few other things that they did. Um, like I said, tweaking it to make it more in the vein of like Archie and Jughead and Betty and Veronica, things like that. DC actually had a bunch of these characters. They had the Scooter comic. They had one called Binky. I've got one issue of something called Date with Debbie or whatever, and I really think that DC's kind of missing out by not bringing back these characters. I think it can work even in today's market. Either make it like a straight ahead kids thing, or do what Archie is doing by trying to kind of revamping it and make it a CW young adult thing, or they could kind of revamp it in kind of like Young Animals vertical way and just make it a more mature readers type thing or whatever. But yeah, let's get into Swing with Scooter. Let's read this kind of dialogue here. Lucky teenagers, you have been drafted as guinea pigs in the most revolting, sickening experiment in the entire history of mad scientists and comic mags. Zip! Can't you wait until we're old enough to vote? Because that's how teenagers talked in the 60s, apparently. They said things like zip. But okay. I'm not sure who the artist is. I don't see any obvious credits. Okay. The crazy mad scientists who hated Little Red Riding Hood and or Goldilocks get lost. So it starts with Scooter and the gang kind of hanging out or whatever, and they decide they're going to go out to the country uh, and have kind of a picnic. Everything's fine, But it starts getting dark, and lightning starts flashing, so they decide to take cover, and they run to the old spooky house. And inside the old spooky house, the butler is a giant Asian dude named Ma Na. Hardy har har. And then his master, of course, is this crazy old scientist. And this is weird. Okay, so we're in the middle of the story, right? Right in the middle of the story, they throw in this one-page gag strip signed Cookies, Swingers Swinging Chick. And then we go back to the regular story. I'm not too sure what the point of that was. Maybe it was an attempt to kind of recreate like the kind of cutaway gags you see sometimes on the monkeys. You see them laughing and stuff like that. That's the only reason I can think they would just throw that one page in there at random. But so anyway, we also meet the mad scientist's wife, Madam Elizabeth Taylor Caramba. Okay, and she's kind of domineering there. They invite the kids to stay for dinner, and there's all kinds of weird, wacky things going on. The kids are like, "We need to leave," but Meshuggah and Karamba are like, "No, you can't leave because we're going to run experiments on you." So the kids try to take off. Meshuggah chases them. Check this out. Here is the Hall of Many Doors. You would see this in a million cartoons from the late 60s and early 70s when there was a wacky chase scene. Okay? And then, oh, here's an ad for Superman 80-page giant, Man of the Hour Clark Kent, Caveman Clark Kent, because cave people wore glasses back in those days, I guess. Al Capone meets Clark Kent. Okay, anyway, back to the story. Kids fall down a trap door. They're in the basement. And Karamba shows them his secret plan. He's building vegetable people to take over the world. And he's going to plant the kids' brains into the vegetable people. So zap, he throws the switch. And the kids turn into, like I said, the vegetable people. Color me blue, I belong in the stew. All right. And then Karamba thinks his plan is working. However, his wife is a little bit skeptical. And then so is his assistant. And the thing is, even though his plan, his machine works, they think it's a stupid plan because who's going to believe in talking vegetables? So he basically just cancels the plan and lets the kids go. The end. La dot 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 dot. Oh, ad for Aquaman. Aquaman versus the Aqua Beast. All right. And here we got Scooter Scoops. And basically, I guess it's supposed to be entertainment gossip, supposedly written by Scooter. But there's stuff in there about the monkeys and the Beatles and the mamas and the papas And aren't they all great guys? And they like to give gifts to their fans and la di da di da, yakety schmackety. Okay, here's an ad for Brave and the Bold. Spectre meets the Flash. I'm not sure who did this art. If I were gonna guess, maybe Carmine Infantino. I have no idea though. All right. Then the next story, Love on Wheels. So Scooter's girlfriend, they're hanging out at the drugstore malt shop or whatever it is, and there's a weight machine that gives fortunes, right? So all the girls are getting their fortunes, and this panel here is kind of funny because everybody, well, there's one guy in the shop apparently. Everybody else is female, and so you got the little guy here, like drooling, like you dirty old man, you. And anyway, Penny's fortune is a boy in my dreams will ask me to go steady on our next date. So, on their next date, Scooter picks her up, get on his bike, and he's telling me he's got some big plans. She's like kind of hinting at, like, yes, I know. I guess you have something to tell me, don't you? Hmm? And he's like, oh, it's a big surprise. And the date is they're going to go surfing. That's the big surprise. So they get on the waves, and then he picks her up, and he says, hang on, go steady, go steady. That's what that fortune meant. What a bump, ba bump, bump. Okay. And then, and this is kind of funny too. Here's this little PSA here. It says, the mystery of the $1 million briefcase. So this guy here is following around this guy here because this guy knows so much and he has the inside scoop on everything and he's very knowledgeable and he's always walking around with this briefcase. So the blonde kid follows the brunette kid around and finally he catches up to him and he says, why are you following me? I gotta find out what's in that briefcase. It must be worth a fortune. And he says, it is. It's books. And that's where I get them. The public library. Well, what do you know? And see, and that's where his wealth is coming from. His wealth of knowledge that you get at the public library. And I guess this is sponsored by, with the National Society, or National Welfare Association, Assembly, sorry, coordinating organization for national health, welfare, and recreational agencies of the U.S. So there you go. So anyway, that's it for Swing with Scooter. Um, yeah, that's it. I got to thank you very much for watching. You guys have a good day.